Mike Wilson, one of the Georgia connections, certainly looking out there, hoping that the defense can get them the ball back and not give up any more points before halftime.
Barnes on first down. It's good to Larry Smith. A 7-yard gain at the Toronto 26. Smith has caught half a dozen on the season as he's worked in and out of the Montreal offensive lineup, very much in it right now.
And a concerned Leo Cahill right now.
Well, he should be.
He looks like he's got an Ottawa Rough Rider tie on.
Barnes intercepted in the end zone by Harris. He's going to take this all the way for a Toronto touchdown with 12 seconds left. You talk about a turnaround. Look at Leo Cahill. Yes, Leo, it's true.
Well, we've got a penalty flag, but we have a return of about 112 yards. But there was a flag thrown after the touchdown. A couple of players down here, I think it was Jim Corrigo and O'Leary, were having some words with each other, and the flag was thrown after Eric Harris had got into the end zone.
I'm quite sure it was after Russ. Harris brought it back 112 yards. And at halftime, we're going to see a guy, Gene Gaines, who ran one back 125 yards in a playoff game.
Well, that was a kickoff he ran back.
A kickoff, but a long run from the end zone. This is the interception return. And here's Bill Dell now. This touchdown is going to stand. Unsportsmanlike conduct against Toronto. But it came after the touchdown. That's a strange time to become unsportsmanlike after you get a big break for a score.
Well, the penalty will take place on the kickoff, so they will lose the yardage from where they kick off. But I'm sure they are happy about that turn of events.
Leo's happier now. He knows that it did come after. That was his concern. Toronto on top 9-3. Marv Levy's Alouettes were pressing for at least a field goal. The go-ahead points by halftime when the ball was thrown very suddenly and dramatically to Harris, who I thought looked surprised to even catch it.
Well, it was a crossing pattern by the two receivers, and he actually threw it right between them. Harris was caught nowhere, and the one receiver was wide open. But when the two Alouette receivers crossed, Barnes trying to hit the one going to the outside. Harris was going to the inside with the receiver, and he just happened to see it come into his arms, and I don't think he really knew he had it.
We've amended, as you look at Joe Barnes, that distance of Harris's return to 116 yards on the interception for the touchdown. Here is the point after attempt by Zenon Andrusician, and he's got it, but a penalty marker is thrown on the convert attempt. It is against Montreal, offside, naturally declined. The Argonauts have got themselves a 10-3 lead. Let's watch Harris's pick off again.
Well, after Barnes had made that important first down, he goes straight back, and we have receivers crossing, and Harris is going to the inside with the receiver coming from the outside. There we see him coming inside. Number 27 was going to the outside. And as the ball was thrown behind the receiver, it just hit Harris right in the hands, right in the breadbasket, and he picked it up, and he outran everybody to that end zone.
If you're wondering if it's a record, it just falls short. It's the 4th longest ever in the CFL. Neil Beaumont of BC with 120 yards. Hamilton's Lewis Porter with 119, and Dickie Harris of the Alouettes with 118. But this one by Eric Harris is the 4th longest interception return in CFL history, and it gives the Argonauts a 10-3 lead with a minute flag up. What a dramatic turnaround, and Marv Levy is the first to tell you that a turnaround can really turn around an entire game, and he's the team that has the fewest of them. You look it up at the end of the season, that's your championship team 9 times out of 10.
Well, especially at this time in the ball game, just before halftime, if Montreal had moved in and scored and had had that 10-3 lead, it gives them the big lift. Now the turnaround, and Marv Levy's job at halftime is to get the Alouettes.
Sounds to end the second quarter, and the Alouettes will have to go in and reorganize. The victims of a lightning-like attack by Harris for a 116-yard touchdown. at the end of the first half. The score is the Toronto Argonauts 10, the Montreal Alouettes 3.
Well, maybe the fans here in Olympic Stadium weren't jumping for joy when Eric Harris went for his 116-yard romp. 4th best ever in the league, as a matter of fact, in history. But certainly Toronto fans were. What about you, Eric? Were you as surprised as you might have looked when you grabbed that ball? It was thrown right to your belt buckle.
All right. It was behind me a pass because I had my man outside, and we was in man coverage, and I saw the ball up, and then luckily I just turned around, and the ball came straight into my hand, and a long run. Touchdown.
This is really a defensive ball game so far.
Yes, it's been a defensive ball game all through the game, and I just hope that our offense can turn over the second half, you know, just to hold the ball a little longer, and I believe we'll be able to have this game in hand.
We know what's going on up on the line as far as your containment of Joe Barnes. Is everything working in the backfield as well?
We're having really good coverage. The only thing about Barnes, if you just got to keep him inside. Once he get outside, he's dangerous.
Eric Harris, what a fine interception. Congratulations once again. Have a good second half.
All right.
Now let's check in with some of those statistics.